And you're listening to the Bob Culture Podcast with your host, Rob Crother.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the show ahead of his appearance at BCW's All Out Watch Party in Atlantic City, September 5th. Tickets are available now. He is the founder of House of Hardcore, co-host of Busted Open, and the only man to hold both incarnations of the ECW Heavyweight Title, the Innovator of Violence himself, Mr. Tommy Dreamer. Tommy, thank you for a few minutes. How are you, man?
Oh, man, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. First and foremost, 2020 has been crazy for all of us. You know, we hope everyone's being safe and doing well. How important to you is it right now to be part of an event where fans can actually get together, enjoy wrestling in some capacity?
If you think about the beauty of professional wrestling, the world stopped, but wrestling didn't. And I love every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday that professional wrestling will trend outside of the pandemic and politics. It means we're doing our job. I learned a valuable lesson from Vince McMahon after September 11th, and he said it's our job to put smiles on people's faces. And it was a scary time, especially me being from New York, and that really resonated with me. And, you always just think you're a professional wrestler or just living your own dream, or, this was after ECW, so I'm chasing that WWE dream. But then you really realize the ramifications of it, what you're doing. And, I'm knocking on 50. I've been wrestling for 30 years, and you realize your body of work and what it has meant to people. And during these times, there's been so much bad, and I feel that we're in a pandemic of negative, especially on social media. But the fact that professional wrestling can continue, the doors are starting to open up in the world for professional wrestling too, is great. And I love to be a part of events, people social distancing. This will be my only second appearance that I've done since March.
Wow.
And you're talking to somebody who the year before did 206 shows. I was probably on the road from Thursday to Monday straight. And, I had my own reservations, but, you got to kind of move forward. People be wearing masks. I did one event where I saw, instead of the ring crew not only setting up the ring, but they're washing down the chairs and disinfecting that. So our world has changed, just like after 9/11 has changed. It will be different forever. And now we just got to adapt with that. Wrestling has done a great job of adapting.
Very, very well said. And it's important right now that we always take care of each other, step up like we did after September 11th. I appreciate that comparison. And being here in New Jersey, we are lucky to have a lot of wrestling, whether it be a drive-in, whether it be socially distanced events. So we have this all-out watch party. What are your feelings right now on how AEW, obviously working with them behind the scenes and so forth, what are your feelings on the way AEW is presenting their product with this limited 2020 world we're living in?
AEW's done a great job. I mean, they were the first to bring an audience back with, some of the wrestlers that weren't being showcased on that TV show that week. Now they're even bringing limited number of fans. They have followed every CDC rule going forward, and I love what they've done. Tony Khan, friend of mine, a big fan of what his vision of professional wrestling is. And, it's obviously been very, very successful. And Tony Khan single-handedly changed the industry with, for the first time in a long time, wrestlers had leverage. When I say leverage, I mean they had the ability to pick and choose where they wanted to stay, where they wanted to go, and make a living doing it. And competition fuels the business. AEW came involved. WWE tried stepping up. They were paying guys enormous amounts of money to sit at home just so they don't go to AEW. But then Impact picked up. Everybody picked up. So I love watching AEW. I love watching events like this with fans because the true wrestling fans came out. I did a watch party last year's WrestleMania, not the one that just passed the year before. And you can really see the enjoyment of fans when you're sitting around a group of fans watching professional wrestling. People who pay their money to sit with other fans, they're diehards, and I love them because I'm a diehard too. I got to sit and watch Kofi Kingston, win the title with wrestling fans where grown-ass strangers were hugging each other. And everyone's kind of makes fun of me and, for living in my profession. I relate everything to professional wrestling, but it's the world I choose to live in. When an African-American man won a title, I saw a black person and a white person hugging and a room full of mixed races enjoying and embracing. That's the world I want to live in, because there was no racial BS going on. It was just everybody celebrating professional wrestling, which is a cool thing.
Yeah, it brings us all together, and I was there for that moment too. What a moment, representing. We love Kofi for sure. So, talking about AEW, you talk about, you're paying attention to the product. I personally love what they're doing with Dark. I'm seeing a lot of the indie talent come in, but then there's these big time matches coming in for All Out, their marquee event here. What are some of the matchups that you've had your eye on?
I think the rise of MJF has been amazing. He's a guy that I used on all my House of Hardcore shows. I've known him since his early matches. He's quickly become a star. I always knew he had the gift of talk, but he's now matched it with the gift of his in-ring ability. If I'm Tony Khan and I have my wrestling company, which I look at it and I say, wow, I have MJF, I have Jungle Boy, I have all this younger talent that's going to be my main eventers for years to come. I think Moxley and MJF will be a very, very good wrestling match. I just saw that Jon Moxley has been the longest reigning AEW champion.
Oh.
That may come to an end. I mean, MJF's also undefeated. You never know. I think the best part about what they're doing is predictability. I literally don't know who's going to win the main event of this show, where if you look at the majority of your shows, you're like, man, you could do, if it was Vegas betting, you could take some nice bets and win, but it's hard. It's hard to do. And I do. I love, what Chris Jericho's been doing with Orange Cassidy. Influx of older talent with younger talent has been a perfect mix, and that's why it's been proven success in the ratings.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I love that Thunder Rose is coming in. I think that's going to be another show stealer as well. So a lot of big ones. And Mr. Dreamer, I do want to be very respectful of your time. I just want to ask this before you get out of here. We're a big advocate, a supporter of the indie talent, especially here in the Northeast. Any advice you would have for these up-and-comers that are trying to get to that next level, that are trying to get over, to change something up?
Pre-COVID, just having your name out there was super duper. WWE literally was hiring, and AEW was hiring indie darlings just because of why their just names are out there. And especially in WWE, they will scoop somebody up who may not be ready, him or her, and put them in the system again just so they wouldn't go anywhere. Or maybe there's a chance, and if they fail or they don't fit into the WWE spectrum, they don't really care, then you get rid of them in a couple of years. Post-COVID world, man, it's hard. I get asked all the time about training in schools. You got to be super duper careful. And, I know up in a lot of schools are just starting to open. But for indie wrestlers out there trying to make a name for yourself, one, I always got to say, you will always be judged first by your appearance. They will, no matter what, they'll always judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
What you do in the ring is where then they want to turn the page and start reading your story. So you have to be in the best shape you possibly can. If you put on some COVID weight, you better start hitting the gym and lose it. You don't want to get that opportunity and then they, I don't even know if they're doing open tryouts, but like you said, AEW Dark, where you get that opportunity, you get called in or you're going to have a spot on the show, and you're 20 pounds overweight. Because what they'll do is they'll watch it and then they'll be like, if it's WWE, you got to come back and lose some weight. You think about coming back and losing some weight, that's going to take you at least half of a year, 6 months, and then you're going to get that opportunity to come back probably 6 months later. So 10 months to a year of your life is now wasted. So be in that shape now, and also be the best that you possibly can. If I've been wrestling once a month now with Impact Wrestling, and we just had an influx of indie guys come in that were trained by Alex Shelley or had some influence with Alex Shelley, and these guys tore it up. They were all in good shape. They were all almost TV ready. And don't just look at AEW or don't just look at WWE. Look at Impact Wrestling. Look at Ring of Honor, because those are going to be the steps where you're going to get a little bit of a taste of it, as well as a little bit of a digital platform. Everybody films stuff for YouTube. Back in my day, man, you'd have to have somebody literally hold a camera and film your own matches.
Yeah.
You can have professional-looking resume at any show you work. This coming Saturday, if you have one hell of a performance, you look good, you literally have that digital imprint that you can press a little button and send a file to whoever's those recruiters. It's also be a professional always, have professional-looking gear. And for me, I always would say work everywhere and work with the best. Or even when you're working with the worst, have a great match with someone who's horrible, because then you can lead somebody, and that's an important spot too. So there's a lot more to it in the sense of, because there's not as many shows as there used to be. But once the world opens up again, I don't know when that will be. But be primed and ready. Like, I don't know who's bringing in extras anymore. I don't know this. So you have a digital platform, or a show's being presented on Fight or whatever these shows are being presented on. If you go out there, look like a star, work like a star, act like a star, someone else will pick you up. And even for me, like, I have seen so many guys that I've helped out on the indies, or wow, you're a good wrestler, hey, you need to do this, this, and this, and I can at least try to get you a tryout. This is when people were doing tryouts. Now it's a lot harder, so you have that digital resume at hand. Just look your best and be your best, and hopefully you get hired from that.
Wow, Mr. Dreamer, very well said. I want to again be respectful of your time and just thank you so much for a few minutes. Stay safe out there and continued success moving forward.
Oh, man, you too. Thank you for having me, and I look forward to seeing anyone who wants to come down to Atlantic City. It's always a good time, and we'll watch some AEW and have a good time watching other professional wrestling.
I love it. Thank you again so much for a few minutes, and like I always say here on the BCP, everyone, stay safe, stay positive, take care of each other. We're out. Peace.